What's up folks, Mike for CMCC Builds here with the Gauntlet Part 2. The Nuclear Wizard build video, the Gauntlet intro, and Part 1 will all be in the description below. If you're new to the series, be sure to check those out before diving into this one. Some housekeeping before we get started. If you like this series, like the video, comment, subscribe so I can keep making more. If you want to support the channel and get some cool perks, Patreon is linked below. Special thanks to Bearworks for the map this week, and once again thanks to RT who designed the encounters, Oddfather who DM'd the entirety of the Gauntlet, and Gil who piloted the Nuclear Wizard. A quick reminder from Part 1, the level 14 Herringon Nuclear Wizard called Nuke, along with his familiar Simulacrum and Orc Warrior Kenku expert sidekicks, faced off against undead, elementals, beasts, aberrations, and a huge monstrosity. Owly unfortunately didn't make it out alive, but the others all did thanks to some strong area effect spells from both Nuke and Sim, along with clutch uses of Magic Missile that work so well with the Evoker's abilities. All said, Nuke used a 6th level spell slot and 2 slots at 4th, 3rd, and 2nd level. His single use of Hexblade's Curse was exhausted, while the Simulacrum consumed a single 3rd level slot, 2 2nd level, and 1 1st level slot. No characters used any healing potions, and the sidekicks only went through some arrows and javelins. As far as damage, only the Kenku is looking a little bloodied up. Everyone else maintained decent health throughout stage 1. With the ice gone and water continuing to rise, the party attempts to stealth through the passageway to the next level of the catacombs. The orc, wearing half-plate, rolls at disadvantage. Yeesh. They trudge through the neck-high water to the catacomb exit. As they creep up the staircase into the next level of catacombs, the water sloshes on the floor with each step. With a passive perception of 12, the undead lurking these halls perk up. A trio of wraiths. Roll initiative. Even with a +7 initiative bonus, sometimes you roll a 2. Even Alert wouldn't have helped Nuke beat Team Monster here. The first Wraith darts in, hits Nuke with a life drain, but with 21 average damage and potential for reduced max hit points, the wizard throws up a shield to deflect the blow. Unable to reach the party, the remaining Wraiths move up, take cover, and use the dodge action. The expert's turn. He moves up, uses the bonus action helpful feature, and takes a short bow shot at the nearby Wraith. An 18 easily hits, and the Wraith takes 17 magical piercing damage, with helpful's additional 2d6. The warrior uses the bonus action aggressive feature to dash toward the undead, attacking with advantage, and an extra 1d6 from inspiring help. The orc is all but guaranteed a hit. 2 hits and 31 points of damage isn't enough to fell the Wraith though. So Nuke does what Nuke's gonna do. Level 1 Magic Missile for an easy 21 damage is enough to kill the enemy. It's important not to overkill your enemies as that damage is completely wasted, so a 1st level slot was the perfect choice here. Sim rushes into a corner to take cover and takes the dodge action. This should be an easy combat, so you just don't want to do anything stupid like waste resources or get your Simulacrum killed. Nuke finishes his turn by following suit. Round 2. The incorporeal Wraith moves through walls and stone to get to the expert. Its life drain attack misses and the creature slinks back to its position of cover. The expert, unable to take an opportunity attack because of the bow, uses no reaction. The next Wraith floats around the physical obstructions, attempting to life drain the expert as well. No dice. It uses its remaining movement to get some semblance of cover. The expert looks to retaliate, moves into position with line of sight on both Wraiths. Bonus action helps, then takes a shot with the short bow. The Kenku tries to duck behind some cover to not leave himself exposed to reprisal. The orc rushes over to the damaged Wraith and attacks with advantage from the expert's help. 33 and not even a crit. In fact, not even close to a crit, but only 8 damage. I guess that's what you get for using a great axe. Second attack rolls a 3, but with a +13, then that hits 2 for 18 damage. Well, I guess that's what happens when you use a great axe. It's swingy.
Let me back up my truck of double entendres.
Nuke just hangs back, conserving resources, taking the dodge action. Sim blasts off a level 1 Magic Missile for 30 force damage, disintegrates the Wraith into nothing but a wisp of smoke. Round 3. The final Wraith makes a suicide run toward the expert. Another 12, another miss. It bolts back out of melee, in no rush to perish at the hands of the intruders. The Kenku scoots over to get a clear shot, preceded by the invariable bonus action help. The arrow finds its target, but a below average roll yields only 12 damage. The Orc Warrior wants to put an end to this, and aggressively charges the final spectral being. First attack with advantage, a crit. 19s and 20s are both critical hits for the Warrior sidekick. 24 slashing damage, and the follow-up strike does another 13 damage, but the Wraith still floats in the air. Nuke decides to rejoin the action, and along with Sim, readies a firebolt for when the Wraith is in clear sight. Round 4. The Wraith moves, and both wizards let loose a firebolt. A Nuke Crit for 6d10 plus 5 damage. Whoa, some good rolls. Do 47 fire damage with another 16 from the simulacrum. Kills the hell out of that wraith. The party has expended some resources, and with some tough battles ahead, this presents an opportunity for a short rest. A ghost appears with no obvious ill intent. The party attempts to persuade the apparition to allow them this short rest. Not that close. They'll have to move on and hope to find the ghost's missing heirloom jewelry on the next level, or that short rest may slip through their fingers. At the northern end of the map, the adventurers find the staircase to the upper catacombs, the final floor before the temple above. Nuke and his companions arrive on the next floor of the catacombs and notice an eerie silence. Nothing in sight, no one dead. The DM rolls. A failed stealth check, the expert notices the airflow shift. He alerts the party. Something approaches. Roll initiative. For brevity, we're keeping the same initiative rolls for the adventurers. The wisps
The will-o'-the-wisps
remain invisible until they attack, and the poltergeist will remain invisible even when they are detected. A quick note that these poltergeists are a beefed up version of what you'll find in the monster manual. We juiced up their telekinetic thrust to have a range of 150 feet rather than the modest 30 feet. Round 1, the wisps move in, but unable to reach the intruders, they take the dodge action. 3 poltergeists ready in action for their telekinetic thrust, and a 4th poltergeist moves into position to hit Nuke with the thrust. This is a contested strength check versus a poltergeist's charisma check. Nuke gets crushed on the roll and is shoved 20 feet back down the staircase, taking 6 bludgeoning damage during the fall. The poltergeists retreat behind cover. The expert moves in to get an attack, but is immediately met with 2 held telekinetic thrusts. The Kenku resists the first and succumbs to the second, as he's flung 30 feet back for 17 damage. Out of range and line of sight of his enemies, the expert readies a bow attack. The orc, seeing his allies tossed around like wet noodles, does what any reasonable warrior does and charges ahead to the unseen enemies.
Oh my god, he just ran in.
Of course, he's hit with the final held telekinetic thrust. A roll of 21 is an auto success, so the poltergeist doesn't even bother rolling, with a +0 modifier. Using the bonus action aggressive feature, the warrior reaches the nearest poltergeist, who remains invisible, but is not hidden. Even with disadvantage, both attacks land, dealing 29 damage and killing the geist. The orc has an attack modifier higher than the poltergeist's armor class, and the rest of the party is within 1, so they cannot miss on any roll other than a natural 1. To save myself some sanity and time, in many cases I'll just show only the lowest roll. Okay, it's Nuke's go. He moves back up the stairs while dusting himself off. The simulacrum uses a bonus action to telekinetically shove him an extra 5 feet forward. Nuke grabs a handful of silver and gold coins, tosses them into the air, and casts Animate Objects. The now living coins hold their attacks. You thought the wizard had a lot of actions in part 1? Well,
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Round 2. 2 will-o'-wisps move through the catacomb walls to attack the nuclear wizard, triggering a number of readied attacks. The animated objects have blind sight, so they're able to attack without disadvantage. 1 hits for 9 bludgeoning. The wisp then take their attack against the wizard with advantage due to their invisibility. 1 of the 2 attacks hits for 10 lightning damage. The expert, seeing their attacks, lets loose with an arrow with his readied action. The attack is at disadvantage, but still hits. Without the helpful action, the attack only does a d6 for a modest 12 piercing. 2 more wisps slide toward the orc, again attacking with advantage. Both hit for a combined 21 damage. The orbs then slide around to the other side of the warrior in an attempt to shield themselves from the animated coins. A poltergeist finds a line of sight to the wizard and attempts another juiced up thrust. Even with a 7, Nuke is unable to resist the force. Blasted back 30 feet, he takes 9 damage, but more importantly is forced to make a concentration check to maintain the animate object spell. With a +7 to constitution saves, he makes it easily. The 2 remaining northern geists ready a telekinetic thrust, while the final ghost finally joins the fray by using its TK ability, and with a natural 20 is able to toss the warrior 10 feet in the air, dealing only 1 damage, but knocking him prone. To finish their turn, the poltergeists shuffle their positions to allow for the best opportunity to use their readied action. The expert stays put rather than face opportunity attacks, uses the bonus action helpful feature, and fires off his bow at disadvantage. A natural 20 means the lower roll hits and does a solid 20 piercing. The warrior takes a couple hacks at the nearby wisp and despite disadvantage is able to do enough to put it down. The orc scoots around the back of the remaining wisp. Nuke repositions the objects to surround the poltergeist and nearby wisps, and they let loose a torrent of terrible rolls. 2 of the 6 objects are able to hit, which is just enough to kill both wisps. Nuke then readies a magic missile, while Sim readies a firebolt. At the top of round 3, the soft growl of an approaching winter wolf mounted by an assassin sent to kill the nuclear wizard. They join the initiative order. The simulacrum's readied firebolt goes off for 18 fire damage on the wolf. The final will-o'-wisps are up. The DM allows for a readied bonus action for the wisps, and the northernmost one readies an action to consume life. The wolf gets right in the face of the simulacrum and breathes out a 15-foot cone of cold. Nuke saves, taking half, but the simulacrum fails, taking all 13 damage. This causes the contingency to kick in, opening a dimension door for Sim, who hops right out of the frying pan and into the fire as the southernmost poltergeist telekinetic thrusts Sim, each rolling a 9, but a +0 is better than a -1, so he's jerked 25 feet forward and 10 feet up off the ceiling, taking 15 damage and falling prone. Sim looks in really rough shape, a bloody mess on the floor. The remaining poltergeists push through the animated coins, not knowing they have blind sight, and can take opportunity attacks. 3 hit, but damage is reduced by half due to the magical resistance. Nuke's readied magic missile goes off, killing one of the geists. The other 2 telekinetic thrust the nearest target, the expert. The humanoid bird is able to shrug off the second blast, but not the first, as he's thrown 30 feet into the air and off the ceiling, falling prone on the ground below. The expert picks himself up, and bonus action helps, and readies an attack for when the will-o-wisp dies. The orc follows up with a couple of attacks on the glowing orb in front of its face. Befuddled by the unusual enemy, the warrior only lands 1 attack, and the wisp hangs on to its unlife by a thread. On the nuclear wizard's turn, the animated objects go off on the surrounded wisp, who survives only due to its resistance to non-magical attacks. But Nuke quickly responds with a level 1 magic missile that permanently extinguishes the will-o-wisp's light. The coins on the western portion of the map dash into the fray. With the wisp dead, the expert's ready to action triggers, and he takes a shot at a geist, even at disadvantage, and natural 2 hits, dealing 17 piercing damage. The simulacrum, nearly dead, rushes around the corner, careful not to get into the poltergeist's range. When its movement is up, Sim drops a wall of force around the poltergeist in a last-ditch effort to remain alive. Sim then rabbit hops another 15 feet into the corner of the room. Round 3. The wisp, sensing an enemy near death, darts past the orc toward the simulacrum. The warrior takes an opportunity attack and just hits with a 19 for 12 damage, leaving the wisp at a single hit point. He tries to shock the simulacrum, but misses with a 6. The wolf snarls. Its cold breath fails to recharge on a 3, so it dives toward the nuclear wizard, attacking with advantage from pack tactics. 21 hits, but Nuke throws up a shield, bringing his AC to 23 for the remainder of the round. A geist floats past the coins toward the orc to get a visual on the simulacrum. Sim gets an 8 against the thrust, but the 14 easily beats it. The simulacrum is tossed backwards and into the air 30 feet, taking 11 bludgeoning damage.
Hands down, this is the best day of my life, and quite possibly the last.
It instantly reverts into snow and melts, the water absorbed into the porous catacomb floor. With nearly half of its resources left at the time of its demise, the simulacrum's loss will reverberate through the remainder of this brief adventure. The next poltergeist tries the same on Nuke, but with no success, and the final geist pushes up to get a line of sight on the warrior, who, despite a +5, loses the skill contest and takes 14 damage and falls prone. The expert bonus action helps, then takes a shot at the nearest perpetually invisible poltergeist. The Kenku makes the attack at disadvantage. It still manages to hit and deal 18 piercing, killing the undead. The assassin finally takes an action, and despite Nuke's shield, the assassin decides to try his luck. Nope, not even close. The warrior aggressively charges a poltergeist, attacking with disadvantage due to invisibility. Hits, 17 slashing, ending the ghostly being. He then uses the remainder of his movement to slide back into the main chamber. Nuke fires off a level 3 magic missile. Despite a roll of a 1, he still does 35 damage to the wolf, then bonus action rabbit hops out of danger and scoots past the Kenku with the remainder of his movement. The animated objects surround the werewolf, pelting it until the canine is reduced to 0 hit points. The remaining coins surround the final geist. Each one hits, but it's not quite enough to put away the ghost. Round 5. The wisp flies over to the orc and attempts to shock him, but to no avail. The poltergeist takes another crack at Nuke, but Nuke is able to resist with a natural 19, resulting in a roll of an 18. The expert spins around, bonus action helps, then takes a shot at the surrounded assassin, dealing 20 piercing. The assassin, in a bit of a pickle, sucks it up and charges through the coins, eating a bunch of opportunity attacks for his efforts. A series of poor rolls results in only 1 hit and 6 damage. The assassin then takes a couple swings at the expert, missing the first and critting on the second. That's 96 plus 3 damage, with the expert's failed save. 33 total, Kenku down. The warrior takes 2 hacks at the wisp in front of him, natural 1 auto misses, and the law of averages gives him with a natural 20. Below average damage rolls yield only 16 slashing damage, but it's enough to snuff out the final wisp's life for good. The orc rushes over to the final geist in preparation of cleanup duty. The animated objects surround the assassin before he can do any more damage. A deluge of attacks results in 5 hits and 31 damage, ending the hitman's life. The poltergeist is pummeled by the 3 remaining objects for 20 bludgeoning damage, but it hangs on to its existence by just 2 hit points. Nuke, flustered from the bustling combat, forgets he has healing potions and attempts to stabilize the fallen Kenku, but he fails with a roll of 5. Round 6, the final enemy. The poltergeist thrusts Nuke back and into the ceiling. Nuke rolls a very solid 15, but is easily outdone by a 17. The wizard takes 12 damage, yet makes the concentration check with ease. The expert makes his first death saving throw and fails with a 9. The warrior's on mop-up duty and lands a crit for 21 damage. Poltergeist is dead. The second axe swing already follows behind and also crits for another 14 slashing. The poltergeist is extra dead. The expert needs to make another death save. Please no nat ones. And he rolls a 6. Okay, still failed, but not yet dead. It's at this point that Nuke realizes they all pack 2 healing potions for this adventure, and he pours one down the Birdman's beak for 8 points of healing, jolting him back to consciousness. Battered from the day's encounters, the team looks to find the missing heirloom for the ghost. The expert investigates with help from the warrior, and good thing because that 9 would not cut it, but the 23 certainly does. Having dealt with the wolf and the assassin, the party takes an undisturbed short rest and marches up the stairs to face the challenges in the temple above. I hope to see you then. Thanks, folks.